Also, as for the spike in out of wedlock births, what changed in America after the 1960s cultural revolution was the abandonment of an old custom called the shotgun marriage. It used to be that if you got a woman pregnant, you were expected to marry her and marry her prior to her giving birth to that child. Now, it was called a shotgun wedding, not necessarily just because the wedding was done quickly, but also because there was sometimes a shotgun involved. The woman's brother or her father were saying, "You better marry my daughter or else." An interesting paper written by the former Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, as well as some other economists and scholars, found that the disappearance of the shotgun marriage custom is what explains a lot of the rise in out of wedlock births throughout the 1980s and 1990s. So we can't really attribute this to free trade or globalization. That argument sounds quite Marxist and materialistic because it's attributing social pathologies almost exclusively to economic conditions rather than to culture and social norms. So I think a lot of the new right is very inclined toward that type of thinking, and they think if we simply change economic policy to be more collectivist or nationalist, that we can solve some of these social problems. But it's a very naive and childish approach to the world. And again, we need to start taking some of these problems more seriously and revitalize American civil society, which can't be achieved through public policy.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, the reality is that the government can't solve a heart problem. Like it has to come from community-based solutions, people working voluntarily together on their local level to solve these problems. You take an issue like marriage dissolution, single parent households. Poverty is a huge, huge precursor to many of those things. It's partly the cause, partly, of you're a victim of your economic situation. Like eliminating jobs that are accessible to people in those situations, making their groceries more expensive, puts more pressure on the family and causes more dissolution. It's sort of like you said, progressive in that it backfires once you start to look to the government to solve some of these cultural issues. It's backwards to me.